Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time you're watching this, and welcome to another episode of the Tech 4 podcast with myself, Mr. Jake Youngs, and Jeffrey, Mr. Tech Raskin.
Woohoo!
And today we are kind of kicking off a little two-part mini-series on virtual tours and video equipment. Right now we are talking through video equipment specifically. As you can see, we've got this massive lineup of toys right here in front of us as well as behind us, and some of the equipment that we recommend for using for shooting videos, and we'll get into virtual tours in another episode.
Right.
But we want to share with you some of our favorite tools and why we love working with these things. So Jeff, without further ado, I'll let you kick us off with whichever toy you want to pull out of the crane, shall we say. Out of the claw machine, rather.
As you can tell, I like my toys.
Yeah, rightfully so. Have you ever noticed how, like, the older you get, the more expensive the toys become?
That also happens, yes, absolutely. So, of course, as boys, we never grow up. So we definitely like our different toys, and real estate and toys definitely go together well, especially if you want to go ahead and create amazing videos, do something different than what the other realtors are doing out there. So let me jump right into it and talk to you about it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is virtual tours. You might as well start off with that one.
All right.
There's going to be many different ways to film the different tours out there. And by the way, I just want to throw in a quick rule in this fun theme of toys. And just keep in mind, regardless of how you film, remember, you cannot have your brokerage name anywhere, nor can you have your name, a phone number, or anything that identifies you, because depending on your MLS, it can be anywhere from $200 or more or less, depending on what MLS you belong to. We happen to belong to AR MLS, and it is a $200 fine, so I just want to make sure you are fully aware of that.
And to emphasize that, that's specifically for stuff that's going in the MLS. The stuff that you're using on social media is fair game, and there are different rules that apply to that. But I assume specifically talking about virtual tours, we're talking about things for the MLS, and that's what our focus is going to be on.
And thank you for bringing that up, because that is absolutely right. Depending on what platform or social media platform you use, it is going to be a little bit different. So let's just talk about a straight video that you can use from your phone, and that means either an Android phone or an iPhone.
Okay.
So let's first, out of our fun gadgets over here, should we go ahead and start off with this bad boy?
Now, what in the world am I looking at?
I know. I don't even know which way it goes anymore. How does this happen?
Is this like a helicopter getting ready to take off?
This is called a gimbal. And what this does, it's a little device. You can get these plus or minus $100.
Yeah. I think this specific device that Jeff is talking about, this is the DJI Osmo Mobile, which you can use on your cell phone for recording videos. And actually, as of recording this in February of 2025, DJI has just brought out their Osmo Mobile 7. So that'll be the latest and greatest version, coming in right around $170.
Yeah, so there we go. So $100, $200 plus or minus. Let's get into it. I'm going to simply take my phone, and I do happen to have an iPhone. Oh, and if you haven't seen our last podcast about the battle of platforms out there, that was fun.
Yes, that was a good time.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take, once again, the Android or the iPhone, and I'm simply going to put it into the claw. And so once I do this, go ahead and put this in.
You're having a little too much fun putting things into claws, Jeff.
You know, it's going to, if you do it the wrong way, you know, it's going to get your finger over there. So, and then what we're going to do is to simply turn it on. Now, the cool thing about this, everybody, is that when you turn it on,
it does take a second to boot up, and it also helps if your batteries are charged too, which I think perhaps Jeff's battery is not charged on this Osmo Mobile at the moment.
Okay, so what should happen? Okay, I had a weird feeling that was going to happen, and I'm so mad at myself. Okay, we don't have to film this. Just cut it and give me like, we'll do other things first. Okay, or hold on.
Oh no, that's 100% staying in there.
Okay.
That's 100% staying in there.
I understand. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go, you're gonna have to cut out some of it. I'm gonna go to another device for a second here. And
so,
then,
I do just want to say real quick, guys, while Jeff is having some technical difficulties with his Osmo Mobile, with his cell phone and all that, there is another device very similar to this that comes from DJI. It's called the Osmo Pocket. The latest and greatest version of that is the Osmo Pocket 3. Now, the Osmo Pocket 3 does not require your cell phone in order to record video. It's its own camera. It's got a touch screen on it. You know, it can do all the things all by itself, which is really cool. Now, the only thing to note about that is that it is significantly more expensive. Actually, I stand corrected on the price tag of the Osmo Mobile 7 that comes in at $149. The Osmo Pocket 3 comes in at $519 as Jeff is scrambling to get his Osmo plugged into a charger. The Osmo Pocket 3, the other thing to note about that is you can get what is known as the DJI microphones. I would open up the case and show you the microphones, but it's what Jeff and I are wearing right now to talk to you guys.
but you could show them these as well. Different brand,
Yes.
same concept. And the thing that I like about these, now these happen to be from Rode, but we do like DJI products over here. We do like DJI products over here. We're having all types of technical issues today.
Well, let me pause you there for just 2 seconds real quick to finish my thought, and then we'll jump into the Rode mics. The thing that I wanted to mention about the DJI microphones is that they will sync over Bluetooth directly to the Osmo Pocket 3, so you don't need the receiver or any adapters to work with it. That's the beauty about everything being one brand. But anyways, back to the Rode microphones that you're talking about.
So these right here, you can actually plug one end directly into the iPhone. I know this is the old school charger.
The old Lightning.
The old Lightning. But anyways, you could go ahead and plug this in there. And then the other one, obviously, you would go ahead and put on wherever you put it on. And they work really, really, really well, picking up pretty much any possible noise. So be careful where you film. But once again, what is super important about videos out there?
Quality.
Is the quality of the sound. That is so important. People can see you, people can whatever, but if they can't hear you, they're just going to tune you out.
Speaking of which, should we check our audio before starting this video? Yikes, we're good. We're totally okay.
Really? I just want to make sure.
I had to mess with you real quick. Yes, we are totally good.
Okay. So anyways, so a good mic, whether it be, of course, what we're using, the DJI. And by the way, this is the dual mic, so obviously we could each put one on.
I love how you're talking about the DJI microphones as you pick up my AirPods case.
Oh, you know what? Actually, that's what I thought.
This is the DJI microphones.
Yes. Well, actually, okay, so we said we're going to stick on virtual, we'll stick on virtual stuff. We'll talk about this later, whether it be the Apple EarPods, because I don't always like things in my ears, so we'll talk about other devices that you can use out there. Let's get back into this. So let's talk about this right here. And
there's two things that are this right here behind us.
Right. So the first thing that I want to talk about is taking virtual tours. This one can be used with a multitude of different software out there. So let's talk about this for a second. I happen to have this one. It's made by Ricoh. It's called the Theta. And they do...
What does this do?
So what it does is, instead of taking a straight video, meaning if I was to take my phone, once the actual DJI gimbal gets charged up, it will allow me to walk around the room, my space, wherever I am, and to basically take a video with your phone, stabilizing it even more than your iPhone or your Android phone already does. So there's a stabilizer built into your phones.
Okay.
But when you walk, obviously you don't want this effect. And so that definitely makes it a heck of a lot smoother. And the other thing that you'll see that it does really quick, obviously much easier to see than to hear. Although if you're listening to us on a podcast, you won't be able to see any of this. but what it does is it also recognizes your face and it will follow you around. So you can actually put it down and then introduce the room by walking around and it will follow you. So we'll show that to you in a little bit.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, this one is different. This actually has
shall we say dual lens, 2 cameras?
Yes, but it's the fisheye view.
Yes.
So in other words, these are popping out a little bit. I don't know if you can see that, but they are bowed on both sides. And so what it allows you to do is face it any way you want. So it's not like you have to put it this way if I want to go this way or this way. It doesn't matter because it's getting a 360 view no matter which way you face it.
Yes.
And so what's going to happen is that when I hook it up to the right software, and we'll talk about the software in a second here, it takes this photo 360 tour, and now if you have seen some of these videos where, you know, instead of just looking forward and you're walking, you can actually see what they're seeing above them or below or to the right or to the left or even behind them, which is the power of this, which is just absolutely incredible.
Well, and that is the beautiful thing about using a 360-degree camera as opposed to just using your cell phone. And I always talk about this in the virtual tours class, is when you're using your cell phone, you're fixated on whatever area your cell phone camera can capture.
Right.
Whereas this thing is capturing everything. And the beautiful thing about that is it allows people to stop and pause wherever the camera is at and be able to look around in the home just as if they were standing in that specific spot.
So, because of that, it takes these pictures within the Theta camera itself, and then it's going to be up to you what software platform you want to use to go ahead and get it into the mix. So I want to go over a couple of them. I do want to let you know I do not work for this company, but actually Zillow 3D does have its own free version of a program, and you can actually go out and you can use this camera, take these 360 pictures of each of the rooms, the outside, and it will actually put them together with a floor plan, no charge, and it will absolutely look pretty cool. There are some software programs that I think it looks better, how it utilizes the actual picture, but it will do the trick, and especially it's free, my favorite 4-letter F word.
So for my suggestion, there is actually one company that I really like that does virtual tour hosting that really specializes in working with the Ricoh Theta specifically. It's a platform called Floorfeet. Now this thing, you can basically walk around inside of a home with just a Ricoh Theta and capture your virtual walkthrough of the home. And get this, Jeff, not only will it take the images from the Ricoh Theta and turn it into a full 3D walkthrough of the home, but it also crops out images for you to upload into the MLS. It creates a video, gives you a 2D floor plan, and using the pictures of the home, uses ChatGPT to write your MLS listing description. And you pay a small price per house, or I think it's actually per month at like $10 a month or something like that.
Super cheap.
For the website, it's a super cheap platform that gets things done. I mean, you walk through a house with a Ricoh Theta for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you're all said and done with all your marketing needs right there. Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Theta, by the way, does have their own software program as well. The only thing is that on a monthly basis, it does get a little bit on the expensive side.
Yes. I mean, of course, the obvious advantage there to working with Ricoh and using the Ricoh 360 tours to host a virtual tour is you get that proprietary software that, quote unquote, nobody else has access to inside the camera. But I don't know. I still prefer the third-party options personally.
So do I.
By the way, I do want to let you guys know there are a number of different options available for Ricoh Theta cameras depending on what you're looking for. And as of when we're recording this, there are 2 primary options available. There is the Ricoh Theta SC2, which is more of the beginner option, coming in at $326.95. Or if you want to get more of a professional version of a camera, you can get the Ricoh Theta Z1, which comes in at just over $1,000. So a little bit more of a punch in the gut, but you know, it'll still get the job done. And the other thing that I will mention is if you want to go with a third-party option, which I think is even better than the Ricoh Theta, there's a company called Insta360, which is really taking the 360-degree camera market by storm. They just came out with their Insta360 X4 probably about 3 or 4 months ago now, as of recording this, and that comes in at $499.99. And not to be that guy, but man, Ricoh is starting to lose the game to Insta360 with all the tech coming out in this thing.
I guess that will be my next toy then.
All right, I love that.
Let's go into other products out there. This one right here is called the Pivo. And I want to let you know that the Pivo actually comes with both the motor that allows you to put in your phone. So this is a little bit different. The Ricoh, once again, is the camera that goes around. Let me borrow your phone, Jake, just for a second.
Yep.
And so what's going to happen is that this one right here, it has a clamp. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put it actually in the clamp, just like this. And then what happens is that when we turn it on, this actually rotates a full 360. So this one just has a fisheye lens that will automatically take it without having to rotate. This one, it can do the same thing, but as you can see, it goes all the way around. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and screw it onto the tripod, which by the way, comes with the whole contraption for about 500 bucks. And so what's gonna happen is that when we do this,
You paid 500 bucks for that thing?
this is $500. Wait.
It was 80 bucks on Amazon.
Oh,
Where'd you spend 500 bucks on it?
because I like to overpay for things.
Sick. Love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay, so now that I know that I overpaid, thank you for making me feel horrible today, Jake. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
What happens is that you could obviously go ahead and adjust this to different levels. And then what I'm going to do is to use my phone app. And you're like, well, Jeff, if you're using your phone here, how to use the app? They do have which I don't have it right now, but it is a little clicker, and it does allow you to control it from there as well. So you can push record, stop, things like that. And then what you could do is say, hey, go ahead and follow me around. So just like the gimbal that I'm going to show you, I'm going to back up and show you in a little bit here. This will also follow you around, so it recognizes faces. In other words, if you focus on your face, it will go ahead and do that there. If you really wanted to, nothing to do with real estate, if you're a horseback rider, you can actually have it focus on there, and it will follow the actual horse with you on it.
Yeah.
It will also do like tennis players, so if you want to see your form, you can also go ahead and do that there. So I want to let you know that one as well.
The only obvious downside to using something like this as opposed to the Osmo Mobile is that this thing can only pan around. The only way that you can tilt the camera is manually, like tilting it up and down in the mount, whereas the Osmo Mobile will follow you everywhere. And it's very interesting how they just like very oddly specifically mention or market this thing towards horseback riders.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
There was actually, gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but there was a company probably about 8 years ago or so that came out with an automated cameraman, which I think kind of led up to more products like this coming out. Shoot, if I remember the name, I'll have to insert it here in the video somewhere. But yeah, I think that's really kind of where the evolution of these devices started. So just out of curiosity, like in the final minutes that we have left of this particular podcast, why is it worthwhile to invest in doing virtual tours of properties? Like, what in the world is the benefit for me?
Okay, so there's a big difference. You need to think about when you go into Flex MLS and you look at the 24,000 properties that are currently on the market as we are filming this, at least here at part of ARMLS's MLS in the Maricopa County area. So the reason is because what is going to make you stick out from the other 24,000 listings out there? And one of the things that I believe does it is where people can not only just look at a picture, which is what every other MLS listing has, but some that's going to allow you to walk through it. And so these definitely have a totally different look and feel to it, where not only people can be on their phones and look at it there, really quick, I do want to also talk about the wearables, as they call it. And the wearables would be something like this. It would be something like this. And I know you look like a dork, and I totally get it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. But I do have to tell you, once you put these on, you can actually walk around the actual house based on what you took with one of these. And it is absolutely incredible.
What a revolutionary idea.
It really is, because, and I think it's going to get more traction as, number one, gas gets more expensive. Number two, just people don't have time to go ahead and get in a car and let's go look at 10 homes today. I think it would be better for them to go ahead and look at it virtually and then say, you know what, I don't like that home. I thought I did based on the pictures, but now that I see a full tour here where I can walk around the home, I think they can narrow it down, and then you could go and drive by the homes, looking inside of only the ones that they think that they really might be interested in.
It's a good point. As my last question for you for this episode, I'm just curious, do you think we'll ever see a point where virtual tours will become mandatory for listings to go in the MLS?
That's a really good question. Gosh, I'm going to say no for now. I hate to even say that because, right, never say never. I mean, I don't think everybody's going to have access to this. Even now, I'm going to say when I go into MLS, I would say maybe 5%. I'm taking a wild guess here. I am. I'm taking a stab in the dark, but I just know based on me looking for properties for my clients, and you can tell me what you think, I just don't see a lot of these virtual tours. I'll see it every once in a while, which, by the way, if you didn't know this, you can put a virtual tour into MLS. There's actually a totally separate field for it, and I just don't see it a lot in there. So do I think it's simply become mandatory? No. Would it be nice if more people did it?
I'm not thinking mandatory from the perspective of agents wanting it, but more so the perspective of buyers wanting it. That's kind of what I'm getting at. But I think a lot of it comes down to virtual tours still aren't very common in the MLS because most agents don't know what they can do with them.
Or how to.
Yes, exactly. Not even knowing that there's third-party companies that will do those virtual tours for you.
And by the way, I just want to let you know, most of the professional companies out there, they have the technology. They have these cameras to actually do this in top of the Matterport, right? Which, by the way, Matterport sold out, and they even recommend the Theta, which is kind of interesting. But what's interesting about it is that it was mandatory for buyers. Every buyer would love to have this, but agents don't do it, right? What their clients want and what agents actually do are totally separate. It shouldn't be, but it is. And if you look at the NAR, just go read some of the articles and the statistics from NAR. They say that anything with a virtual tour is going to get more eyeballs on it than not having a virtual tour. So this is some stuff that I think everybody should be using.
Well, and it's just like using videos on social media as opposed to using images. People want more videos than they do want
100%.
Straight images. So with that, we're going to leave you guys here on this particular episode of the Tech 4 podcast. We will cut to Jeff using his Osmo Mobile, hopefully here in just a little bit. So just know if that got clipped in, then he got it charged and working. Woo-hoo! And if not, then we'll have it for you in another episode. But with that, we will see you guys in the next Tech 4 podcast episode.
Thank you. Okay, so one of the things that you need to know, we'll call it Tech 101, and that is electronics actually need to be charged before using them.
That would be a great place to start.
Okay.
This is why I usually charge my stuff as soon as I'm done using it.
Yeah, which is a great thing to do. Just as soon as you're done doing it, charge it. Okay, so let's talk back to the gimbal. This happens to be an older version of the DJI, but it works perfectly fine. And what I really like about it, everybody, is that you would turn it on. Now we talked about the claw, so you're putting in your phone into the jaws here, and then obviously it's a super secure Trust me, this phone is not dropping. I don't care how much you shake it. There's absolutely no way this thing is letting go.
Jeff would know. He's dropped his phones before.
Yes, 100%, which is why get a case for it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I showed you the follow me feature, or at least I told you about it. And this is what I really like about it. So the camera, well, let's turn it the other way. So the thing that I like about it, remember we were talking about stabilization? Well, this one right here, if you click the trigger button, and what it allows you to do is no matter, you know, how I angle it or how I walk, it's going to be super stabilized. As you can tell, the arm here makes it so it's kind of like just free. So it doesn't matter whether I'd be like, oh, I tripped or whatever. It's still super, super, super stable. And that's kind of what it is there.
You're a great sales guy for DJI.
I know that you start paying me for this stuff. Now, if I switch the camera to me mode, what's going to happen is that, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to be able to film. When I film, it's just going to follow me. So let's say I'm introducing this house here, right? So I can now say in my YouTube filming video here, I can say we're on a video mode, and now I'm going to be able to say, hi there, this is Jeff Rask at ABC Realty. Let's go ahead and take a look at this house right behind me. And now I can just walk, and as you can see, it basically
follows him everywhere he goes.
Right? So I can actually, and watch this, I can even go down and it follows me. I can jump up and it follows me. And that's what's really cool about it. So I think you can see that in the frame here, how it's following me all around. So that's the power of a gimbal.
Cool. Well, not to mention the fact that your video just looks so much more professional than it does when you're
way more professional
than it does when you're recording it just with a cell phone. Even if you are using a tripod mount, like for example using it on the Pivo, it still looks way better coming out of the Osmo Mobile. Granted, I will say it doesn't quite rival a professional camera like the EOS R, but that's a story for a totally different day for you guys.
And then going back to what I was talking about earlier, so depending on what kind of connection you have, you go ahead and plug in this case, the Thunderbolt, and what I would do is I'd put it here in the iPhone. Obviously, if it's an Android or a newer one, they use the USB-C, and that will allow you to then connect to your wireless device, or your Bluetooth device, I should say. And then when you do that, boom, you go ahead and now get super crystal clear recording of yourself, introducing whatever you're introducing, and this is following you on top of that to boot.
Yeah, that's super, super cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to toss in with this guy?
So the only other thing that I want to say about the gimbal is that I usually, another piece of technology, is I usually go out and use my tablet device just because it's a little bit larger. So I can use my Surface Pro, I can use an iPad as well. And basically I have a way to go ahead and put in a, what's the word I'm trying to think of, like a newscaster uses, where it reads like a teleprompter. A teleprompter, that's what it is. And so I can put in whatever verbiage I want, and then basically as I read it, it listens to what I'm reading, and then of course, just like a newscaster would, it scrolls as it goes along. So I put that behind me, and then I can go ahead and look at it here, and it just sounds beautiful, looks beautiful, and of course it will remind you of what you need to say because you're reading it word for word, but you need to make it, of course, look super natural.
Well, I mean, it's super easy to sit there and just read off a teleprompter standing there like a stick like me, or you can be super vibrant and have hands moving all over the place. I did actually put together a special video for you guys, for those of you who are a part of our Agent Ignite program, where you can go watch and learn how to use a teleprompter anytime you want to. So definitely go and check that out as well. It's in the All Things Social Media course, so definitely be sure to join us for that.
Cool.
And with that, I think that's what we've got for you guys in this episode. We're glad we got Jeff's Osmo Mobile up working. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode very soon.